want to talk to you guys about the Sofabaton remote, right? And before I get into talking about, my system and all of that stuff, I kind of want to talk about this. As far as home theater, a lot of us are having an issue to where we can't find a remote that will work with all of our devices. Like, I've got like an Anthem AVM 90, I've got an Anthem 1140, I've got a Denon 3800H, and Marantz Cinema 50, Onkyo RZ50. I got a lot of different receivers, right? I just buy stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. Like, if I like something, I'm gonna buy it. The problem is, it seems like Harmony is the only manufacturer that ended up doing remotes right, but then they wanted to stop selling the remote because I guess like only a small percentage of the remotes were being sold, or whatever the reasoning behind it. So it leaves a lot of home theater enthusiasts kind of out in cold because you don't have one device that can turn on, all of your devices and adjust lighting and all of that, unless you get a used Harmony Elite remote. All right. It's like the only thing you can really do, or you pay for a Control 4, have a dealer rip you off. It's what it is. So you listening to like a Shane Lee who's just leading you into being ripped off with everything, right? Because he's in bed with the dealers. He's going to tell you a trend off is, the end game. He's going to, tell you to get a Avo remote, tell you to get all these different remotes that are basically going to have a dealer rob you because they have to configure it. But the Harmony Elite, you didn't have to do that. Like, the remote did everything that you needed it to do and more, right? Had a hub, cradle, sitting in there, charges, lasts for about 3 days. It did its job and it worked very, very well with touchscreen, everything. Very, very good remote, right? The problem lately is that you don't really have much competition in the home theater space because if you ask me, home theater isn't where it used to be, and it kind of seems like it's kind of dying. And I'm gonna do a whole nother video on why I think home theater is dying. But you have another company, it's called Sofabaton. This is not sponsored. I'm gonna give you my real opinion, real review on this thing. I'm not trying to appease anybody. I've listened to a lot of different reviews, right? Like this guy, Haterade Cowboy Cinema. He did a review on the Sofabaton. He did like a bunch of different videos on it. Youth Man did a review on it. The Haterade guy kind of seemed to me to be like all over the place with the review. He's kind of like, if you know him, he's kind of like trying to walk in Shane Lee's. This is not bullying him or nothing like that. It just, give my perspective on like, reviewers. We can talk about Linus Tech Tips. We can talk about, I'm just giving my perspective. He kind of like is trying to ride Shane Lee's coattails, right? Shane Lee's got like a trend off, and then now he's got a review unit trend off, and then Shane Lee gets Kaleidoscape, and now he wants, you see what I'm saying? It's like he's trying, and then he's on his live all the time, Shane Lee's live, hoping to get some of his subscribers, and he's just riding his coattails. And in his review of the Sofabaton, he's got one review, he kind of didn't like it, then another one he likes it. He's just like, he's all over the place with it. Saying it oh, good customer service. But then, like, he's saying in the video that, like he tried to contact customer service with Sofabaton and nobody responded back to him. He's still been waiting, but it's still good. It's like this dude is all over the place. If you know Youth Man, shout out to Youth Man. Talked to him a few times, like through messages and stuff like that. Seemed like he's invited me to his house. Pretty cool guy. But Youth Man did a review on this. Right? Anybody know me? I've got a big YouTube channel that, it's got a lot of subscribers on it. I got 50-something million views on it. It's entertainment. I don't really talk about home theater on that. Right? But I understand Youth Man did a review. So I don't really talk about this on that channel. But Youth Man did a review on this. And through his review, you couldn't tell. You kind of knew he was having trouble with it, but you couldn't tell that he just wouldn't recommend it, right? Because it's a review unit, and he was professional with it, and but then I heard him talk on the Hi-Fi Daily channel, and he was talking to Techno Dad, and he basically was trashing the remote and saying it was like he didn't like it, it was bad remote. So it's like it's so many different mixed opinions about this remote. So I'm like, well, what do I do? Right? Do I buy like an old Harmony Elite? Right? Hope that it functions and get the Harmony Elite and get it in the house from eBay. It's going to be scratched up, or go to Facebook Marketplace and deal with the scammers and, people who have the remotes are hundreds of miles away and they try to get you to send them money so they can ship it. And, do you want to deal with that? Or do you want to just like buy something brand new? And this is like $200, right? So I'm like, let me buy something brand new. I bought this. What do I think about the Sofabaton? Is it what people are saying? I think it's a little bit better than what these guys are saying, right? They may not have known how to work it, is what it is. The Sofabaton controls my Apple TV, my LG TV. It controls my kaleidoscope. Found out how to get it to control my kaleidoscope. It controls the kaleidoscope. My Denons, Marantz, all of that can be controlled. The only thing I'm having a problem with is it controlling my Anthem AVM90 and my Anthem MRX 1140 in another room. Like, it doesn't control, like, it can control it, but switching inputs on startup, it gets confused. It's not an intuitive way to control. If I'm using my Anthem and not using my Cinema 50 or whatever, I'm going to have a problem with this remote. So if they can get that fixed for me, I think the remote would be cool, right? And it does have its hiccups every once in a while. It gets confused. And I think part of it is the LG TV, has bad handshake issues with a lot of different products. So, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it works, right? The IR not being on the remote, I think, is the biggest downfall of this remote, in my opinion. The problem I have with it is that it can control things like my Kaleidoscope Strato V, cool. But sometimes it's like you got to press the button a couple times for it to work, unless you're pointing it around, or you're like as close to the hub as you can get. You know what I mean? Or you're using like one of them IR things and you got it hooked up to your receiver, whatever you're doing. Then it's like a little bit better, but it's just not. It should have an IR on it. I don't know why. Maybe that would affect the sleekness or the battery life. Maybe they were just going with a 3-month battery life or whatever they were doing with it, so they didn't want to make room for IR blasting. Maybe they felt like the dock thing or whatever it is, like that could just do everything, and they don't need it. And I think that was a mistake that they made with this controller. But I think it's a good effort. The activities for the most part, they work. You know what I mean? Like, the only problem is like I'll use Philips lights, and so you have to have the hub for this thing to work with Philips. Is the problem. Whereas I think with the Harmony Elite, you don't have to have the hub; it just connects to it. Is what I'm hearing. So if they can do something like that, but licensing agreements and stuff, that's when things start getting pricey and expensive. Could be part of the reason why Logitech may have gotten out of the remote game, right? But this is my problem with home theater. One of the problems is that a lot of these guys, like the Youth Man, people like him, the Haterade, or even the biggest one, right? In my opinion, I think he's like the biggest one doing it to the level I'm about to talk about. Right? You got audio holics. They basically in bed with dealers. They try to recommend anything that a dealer wants you to, or a manufacturer wants you to buy. Like, they'll just recommend it. Even if it doesn't make sense, they'll recommend it. Audio holics. This guy right here, Shane Lee, no disrespect to him. This is his channel. He will recommend anything to you that a manufacturer is trying to push. You know what I mean? And I think that people like him and Haterade, and you see, he's trying to ride Shane Lee's coattails. It's him. This is him right here, riding Shane Lee's coattails. not doing it on his own. Like, you know, I've got my other channel. Let me show you my channel real quick. Let me show you my channel, show you what it is. So let me go to my channel. I'm very tempted to start talking about stuff like this on my channel. So this is my main channel, right? I've got 127,000 subscribers. If I do a political blog or something, I'm going to do like 90-something thousand, 100,000 views. And sometimes I just talk about rap, entertainment, whatever. I don't really talk about stuff like this. You know what I mean? Home theater, like my leisure. But I kind of want to do it because some things just aggravate me so much with how it's become. It became, we're gonna, like, you know, everybody loves the home theater experience, to now everybody's trying to sell you on super high price things that are not really necessary, right? But the Harmony Elite remote, right? Let's get back to that. So you got people like Youthman, people like Haterade. They just kind of cling to what old heads, I call them, in the home theater space. Like, Hell is Grand. Like a Oppo 203. It's a good player. But I've seen an Oppo 203 and I've seen a LG G4. And if you ask me, the tone mapping on the LG G4 looks better to me. But they will, like, tell you, you know, like a Techno Dad or this Haterade guy, like, oh, Oppo this, Oppo that. And it's just like, they do the same thing with remotes. You know, oh, the Harmony Elite, it's this and that, and this is the Harmony, nothing's better than the Harmony Elite. And then next thing you know, you're trying to find a Oppo 203, 205, you know what I mean? Or a Harmony Elite, and you're paying like extravagant prices for like old things that are discontinued just because people want some old technology to hold on to. And it's like, why would you get an Oppo 203 when you got an LG G4 or you got the UB, what is it, UB 9000 or something like that? Like, why would you want a Oppo 203? Like, and when you really start thinking about it, you're like, yo, home theater is crazy. And then you got like Shane Lee that's like recommending a Kaleidoscape, like a Strato E, that's, you know, was like $3,000 that holds like 4 movies. It doesn't hold 5, it holds like 4 movies. And telling you like it's a good deal. Like or even when the Strato V came out. You know, I got the Strato V just because it's like, yo, I mean, I'm in my return window. It's like whether or not I'm going to keep it or not, to see what the value was with it, like if it's worth it. And I mean, mostly what they talk about, you start finding out these people are just dealer affiliated, you know, and they get on here, they talk about Purliston speakers. You go and you hear the Purliston speakers, they sound bad. Like, what was it? The Audioholics was talking about something, and I was like, man, like a lot of people like Purliston speakers, and I don't understand why. I went to Audio Advice Live. I didn't think they sound good. I went to you know, what was it? Exponent. I didn't think. He was like, oh, well, you heard them, and like those type of environments, you need to bring them home, and they have to be like tuned. And it's like, wait, I gotta pay all this money for a speaker that doesn't sound good, but you're gonna tell me it sound good even though my ears is telling me it don't sound good. But I've been to Audio Advice Live and heard a lot of these guys talking about their hearing is not the same, they don't hear the same, you know what I mean? And it's, they'll tell you like measurements, this measures good, it's measured. I've heard things that are not measured like appropriately before. They still sound good. Like, one thing I do love about what is it, the dude, I think his name Andrew Robinson, right? Thing I like about this dude is he keeps it real. Like, mostly everything I've heard, for the most part, this guy keeps it real. What he says lines up to what I hear and what I experience in home theater. Like, this is like one of the speakers that he talks about a lot, the Polk R700s, right? And I talked to him before, like through his, you know what I mean, his YouTube, whatever, because he was like so gung-ho about the Polk R700s. I went ahead and got a pair. And I was like, man, I don't really like the way they sound. And he was just like, you got to get an amplifier, like empower them. I got an amplifier. Since then, I've loved my Polk R700s. I think they sound good with music. They sound good with movies. I've got a lot of different rooms with different speakers. I got Kef room. I got this a listening room with LS50 metas. I've got you know what I mean, a whole Kef theater set up. Maybe one day I'll end up showing you that with PB4000s and you know MRX 1140, all of that in here. And here I got an AVM 90. I got my R700 hooked up to it. Sound amazing to me. So when I go to these like home theater like conventions, nothing has embarrassed. Like I've only heard, I think it was Revela 2s, I think that's what they're called, that sound like a Revela 2s, or they sound better than the Polk R700. There's a clear difference. You know, like, I mean, other than that, I don't really be hearing a whole, until you get to like, you're paying over $14,000, then you're gonna have like a major difference, right? But within the realm of like, you know, what, 4 to or 2 to I would say even 12,000, like, you don't, it ain't really that much difference. I mean, with the Polk R7, like, you don't really need anything else, I don't feel like, you know. So I really respect his opinions when it comes to things, Andrew Robinson, because I feel like he keeps it real. A lot of the home theater enthusiast community, they do not keep it real. They try to get in tune with these suppliers, dealers, and they just want to sell you on everything, and that becomes the problem. So looking for just a remote was difficult if you're looking for reviews on what's going on. It's insane. I can tell you anything, right? But my opinion on the Sofabaton, I think it's all right. I think they're headed in the right direction. I think they're probably a few firmware updates to having things that we would like, right? We want it a little bit more intuitive, you know, maybe follow the flow of what they did a little bit with the Harmony Elite, you know, but for the most part, I think it's good. You know, it does the job. It's not perfect, but it does the job. You know, the Anthem, I think that you guys need to do something. We're getting this to work better with the inputs on the Anthem, you know, because it seems like you got to be a technician in order to figure out how to make that work right. But other than that, like other receivers and stuff, I think it's pretty spot on. I think it's good, you know. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section, and what do y'all think about? Because I kind of want to do a deep dive into some of these guys. I've been thinking about, you know, a lot, and it's not going to be disrespectful, but kind of showing you like what I've been seeing as like watching some of these reviewers. Like some of the, you know, they always want to talk about Arendal, Perliston, Shane Lee's always Perliston, you know, Haterades, always Arendal, you know what I mean? And then you got the JTR, Youthman JTR. I've just watched a benchmark of a JTR Captivator 2400 versus a PB17, I think it was, and they're like close. Very close. The only thing that was different, I think, was the 10 hertz range, which a lot of people was chasing 10 hertz. I think you were still like over around 105 dB when you hit like 10 hertz. But going like what you can hear going down, I think it was close. I think PB17 was actually a little bit better in certain areas than the JTR, right? Louder than the JTR. It's just when the JTR hit 10 hertz, it was, you know what I mean, higher the decibel level with the lower extension, you know, and that's what some people chase. But, you know, and you will have Youthman tell you, this is the best subwoofer in the world. Nothing competes. I think the drivers are really good for what it says they are, but have y'all ever heard like a JTR? Like, I've been to a lot of different audio conventions. I've never heard, and he invited me to his house, you know, but I've never heard, but I would have to fly to, I mean, he probably ain't gonna want me there now because I keep it too real, right? But like, you'd have to fly to Florida or something like to hear like some JTRs, and he's supposed to be the best speakers. Why? Because Youthman says so? They're in game because he said so? Like, they've been saying like Perliston subwoofers, not him, but like like Shane Lee and all these people. They talk so highly about Burliston. I've heard Burliston subwoofers 18-inch at Audio Advice Live, and I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. Oh, well, they just wasn't in tune. You know what I mean? Or calibrated right. It's always an excuse. Instead of just like, all right, this thing is expensive and it doesn't sound good. Or as good as we want you to believe it is. Somebody made a mistake. Right, and I always talk about this. The guy, Youth Man, went to his house and he was helping him set up his JTRs. Right, it's that guy. Hold on, let me see if I can show you. Hold on. He was helping this guy set up his JTRs, right? And this guy made a mistake. Let me show y'all. This guy right here. He was helping this guy set up his JTRs. But this is not the video I'm talking about, because I don't think Youth Man was... the video I'm talking about, he had an integrator come to his house to help set up... And let me show you who this integrator is. All right? Because this guy be capped too, bro. And of course, this guy, look what you doing? Try to sell you on a kaleidoscope, right? But he had see if he coming up. This guy right here, come to his house. The one on the right, come to his house to try to set up his because at the time he had Burliston speakers. Like, it's a different time. He had Burliston speakers, and this guy was over there, and he was just like, he made a mistake. He was like, oh, well, because when I initially heard the Burliston subwoofers, I thought they were junk. Like, he made a mistake and said that. You know, and I was just like, yo, like, that's what I thought, like, when I heard him. You know, but it's hard to find people that keep it real in home theater. I think everybody, because even this guy, he just did, like, a review, right, on the kaleidoscope. This guy right here, he just did a review on a kaleidoscope. And he's on the Audioholics, you know what I mean? Like, he doing you know, they all do collaborations with each other, whatever. But he did a review on a kaleidoscope, and he's just trying to just sell you on it. Like, oh, the Strato V, I did a review, you know what I mean? Did a review trying to sell you on it. But it's like, bro, like, you know these guys. You're an integrator. You don't sell us anything. Even if it makes no sense. You know, and then some of the key points he was making, I'm just like, so it's forcing me into a position where I have to buy things and try things myself, right? So I said something and on Haterade, because Haterade had somebody in his comments that said they bought 2 Harmony Elites, but they just now opened one. But so that means he's got another one that's boxed up he never opened. So I'm like, oh man, like can I buy that other Harmony Elite from you? Haterade gets in the comments. You don't know what you want. First you want a Sofabaton, then you want this, and then you want that. I'm like, what? Like, bro, like, why are you so emotional? Because I think because I had asked him a question or something like that, because he contradicted himself in a review, and I asked him a question, and he lost his mind when I wasn't even talking to him. You know what I mean? And this is how these guys are. Like, what I found out, like, with Kaleidoscope, right? If you go on, like, AVS forum and you got a question about a Kaleidoscope, you may be having an issue, you want to troubleshoot it, they will remove your post. I just had, like, a, you know, like, hey, my Kaleidoscope is, like, cutting on and off. I'm not sure if it's an HDMI issue, whatever's going on. They removed the post. I'm like, wait, hold up. Let me do it again. Put another post up. They removed the post. Then I found out AVS Forum is like basically in bed with all of these companies. They don't want any negative attention. They don't want the reality. Because I said something, right? I think it's Youth Man. He had he definitely ain't gonna invite me to his house now. He on his Facebook about the what was it? Like, I was having an issue with a controller or something like that with this or whatever. And I said, I know it's not really that many like real people with kaleidoscopes, because it's not. All right. And this is why they have the price so high. So only a few people can get it. And, people aren't really telling you about the issues that it may have. And so I was just like, I'm having issues with it. I can't find any real people. Anybody who have a kaleidoscope, can you help me with X, Y, and Z problem? Youth Man removed me from being able to comment on the post. He may end up commenting on this video, but he removed me from being able to comment on the post that I made. Said, oh, well, we're not just going to have you in here, like, on some goose post chase or something he said. I'm like, what? I can't even ask a question. He's a dealer, affiliate, whatever. And it's like, man, y'all people, bro. Y'all will sell us on anything, stuff that you don't even like. Youth Man went on Daily Hi-Fi and said he didn't even like this thing. But if you look at his review, he ain't saying none of that stuff in his review. So it's like, man, these people, man, like, but we gonna delve into home theater and kind of show y'all what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? But y'all tell me what y'all think. As far as the Sofabaton, I think it's cool. It's got if y'all can make this work right with an Anthem, it controls the Anthem, but if you can make it switch inputs on startup, that would be my only gripe. And then maybe having the ability to be able to, with a Philips Hue, like a single light or something like that, for it to be able to control it, so you don't have to have the bridge. I think you're cool. You know what I mean? I know people have problems because they don't have, I guess, a licensing agreement with other things like Lutron and stuff like that. But I don't use Lutron. I don't really care. But if you're going to spend money on a remote, you want it to work with a lot of things. But then you're going to end up getting a Harmony Elite, that doesn't work with a lot of things. So it's like you got to pick your poison. But I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. We're going to delve into Kaleidoscope and a whole lot of other things on this channel. But I'm out, y'all. Peace.